Welcome to another podcast. This is a family podcast where we discuss everyday family issues. Please like, share, and subscribe this podcast.
In today's podcast, we are going to look into a commonly known topic. The reason I believe that this topic is very well known is because it's an issue that many parents come across with their teenagers especially. And before we start podcast, I want to say a quote by Abigail Bresley. The quote goes this way: "Never let anyone try and make you into something that you are not. Remember what it is that you want, and always stay strong in that." Mm-hmm. You know, the topic I want us to look into is peer pressure among young people. This is something as parents you would like your children to come across. As you can see, it's a difficult topic to talk about as there are different factors with peer pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. And parents commonly see peer pressure negatively. And the first thing they think about is which friend group you're in, and if those friends will not influence you to do bad things. And it's not always such a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the phrase peer pressure can be used positively. So usually peer pressure is a phrase commonly used to refer to actions that are not acceptable, such as things like drugs or alcohol.
The unacceptable actions are not only drugs, alcohol. Yeah, mostly parents always looking at that as in alcohol, drugs and all that. You have shoplifting and stealing, peer pressure related to that. Kids, they go into the shop. I get me. Come on, try it. Can you get something? I get me. To pressure, what happens? Start being stealing, start shoplifting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get me. So early sexual activities, that's common with teenagers as well, isn't it? They haven't. It's through their peer pressure. We have bullying and non-respect to the elderly. That one is something that most people might not notice more. It's happening a lot now. You know, I remember those days when you see an elderly person maybe crossing the road or having a big bag or something. Do you understand what you normally try to do? The kids, they say, okay, mom or dad, okay, can I help you out? Where are you going? Which house are you going to? They try to help them carry the bag. I get me. Just to go to a place or help them to put in the car or something, just to try them. Mm-hmm. But these days, what you're seeing a group of kids going around, teenagers or young adult. They see an elderly person instead of them to help the person. Now, what do? I get me. They start making fun of the person, they're laughing, throwing. Sometimes even they kick the bags out just to mess about. It's what happens. Peer pressure. You know, those are things happening. You understand? We will look into the peer pressure. There are two aspects of it we want us to look into: the positive and the negative peer pressure. Mm-hmm. Understand? So we're gonna discuss about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and first of all, we're going to look into the positive aspects of peer pressure. Positive peer pressure is when your peers influence you to do things that may help you or someone else. For example, your teenager's friends could have the same goals as your son or daughter. Let's say they want to be a pro basketball player, but they're not fully invested in it. Mm-hmm. And your child might need motivation, a bit of a push. So their friends who also want to be a professional start to influence your child to practice with them and play with them. If your son or daughter ends up liking it, is that not positive?
That's positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They could end up very good at the sport and go very far into the sport. And just because their friends used positive peer pressure to make your teenager practice basketball with them, I believe that you as a parent could help them as well.
Yeah, but that's right. Just that positive pressure might not be emphasized or noticed more often due to its normality. You know, it's normal. Someone doing something good, we just take it. You understand? It's normal. Like what you said in your example, the child needed a bit of a push, a helping hand to help him to go pro his basketball. And he got the support from his peers. I get what I'm saying? So he got that support. So many young people have been influenced positively, I get me, from their peers. But we're neglecting that because we're not emphasizing that more. We take it as a normal thing that happens every day. Do you understand? We're supposed to like put more emphasis on that. We're supposed to say more, encourage that positive influence. The boy needed a push, right? There's a group. They invited him to home. Come on. Okay, come. Train with us. They give him that motivation. Do you understand what I mean? Those are peers, the positive peer pressure. It's there, but we don't look at it. We don't emphasize it more. Because we take it as normal things that are supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to encourage more of positive peer pressure.
Yeah. And now moving on to the negative aspect of peer pressure. Negative peer pressure is when you're asking a teenager or anyone in your peer group to do something that is against a certain type of rule, or also something you can get in trouble for. For example, a teenage boy is at a party with his friend, and his friend recommended him to go to that party. At first, the boy was very hesitant and he didn't want to go to the party because it was late at night. But his friend started calling him a wimp and was taunting him.
Which happens every time anyway. They call you names and all that, isn't it? To pressure you, yeah?
Yeah, and that teenage boy was angry at his friend and he didn't like being called a wimp. So he ended up going to the party to prove his friend wrong. Like, he was like, oh, see, I'm not a wimp, I'm going to the party, can you not, like... And all of his friends were there and they were all smoking and drinking. And since the teenage boy didn't want to be the odd one out and he started drinking and smoking too, let's say that he ends up getting an addiction to alcohol and smoking, and then he can't stop doing it. All because his friend called him a wimp for not going to a party.
Yeah, become an alcoholic or start smoking. It's just started one day, isn't it? Maybe just the first time you try it was at the party. Right? Okay, but what you have to understand is this. The difference between a good child and a bad child. You know, when sometimes you hear parents, they say, yeah, but my son was a good child. I don't know what got into him. Or my daughter just changed. She was a good child. I don't know what got into her. Do you understand? The difference between that good child and the bad child is just the decision making. Okay, let's just, for instance, what you just said now about the boy that wants to go to a party, right? The only thing he has to say is what? No. I'm not going. You said that he was late already. Do you understand? It's late, he can't go to that party. All he has to have to say is what? No, I'm not going. And he has to say that no as if he mean it. Do you understand? I'm not going. It's late. But going to party is not just the problem. Do you understand? The problem there is that when you notice that you cannot accept positive, you cannot accept pressure, right? When you've been to the party, you get in there. In the party, you can still say no, that you don't want to drink. I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. Do you understand? Okay, if you guys putting pressure on me now, okay, what? I have to go home. And when, do you understand? He said he want to leave. They will leave him alone. But the problem is sometimes people cannot, I don't know, when there's much pressure on you, right?
Yeah.
They cannot stand it, that pressure. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You see that?
Some people are different. They can't take it.
Yeah. And they fall for it. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to smoke anyway. What is it? All right, I'm going to drink. And you realize that some people, they are different. Their head might not take the alcohol. Their head might not take the smoke, or maybe might be weed or something else. You understand? From there, you see them, they have a change of attitude. This time it's behaving, and that's when it leads to what? Drinking, being alcoholic, in drugs and everything. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not only boys that it happens to, but it can also happen to girls as well. Going to a party and they can be pressured to do things that they don't want to do. And I think the best thing to do is to get away from that pressure. Just don't put yourself in a stressful situation that you can't get away from.
Yeah, but you know, when you go into the same, based on the same scenario you said before, right? When you go into a party, what is always available in a party?
Alcohol.
There's alcohol. Do you understand? Alcohol is there in the party. So when you go into a party, there's always alcohol available. If you are that type of person that you cannot resist, like what I said earlier, you cannot resist pressure. Do you understand? The best thing you have to do is what? It's better to avoid going. Try find an excuse to get away from it. Do you understand? Just say, oh, no, I'm not going. Or you have something else to do. Just find something, excuse. Yeah, you said something that is better for you to do or to just to get away from that. Resist that pressure. Get away from it. Do you understand? Just find a way to get away instead of going there. Because once you get in there and there's a lot of people, your peers and people around you, they're going to make a gist of using it. They're going to start laughing at you. And for you to be that one person odd in the midst is not really good.
Yeah, but what you're saying, it's easier said than done though. Because people always want to belong to one group or another. And we want to feel important, especially because we don't want anyone to call us names like a wimp or weakling. And we prefer to fit in. So when you talk about peer pressure, everyone has peers, both old and young. And we get peer pressure every day, both positive and negative. The only difference is the way and manner we respond to those pressures. And that will determine the outcome of the results of our actions.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Is the difference is just like the only difference is where we react to that. I was just saying earlier, some people, they cannot resist pressure. Again, in order not to do that, what you have to do, just try and get away from there. Don't put yourself into that situation whereby they pressure you to do something. You understand? So when you see 2, 3 teenagers or young people, they already know they know their mates, they know their peers, they know the ones that are not up to good, right? And once they come around, what you do when you go out with them or going somewhere, you know there's something going to happen. The best thing to do is do what? Find a way, find an excuse, always find something to get away from there. When you do that first 2, 3, 4 times, yeah, they won't come back again because it's not going to go anywhere. I get what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying, that it's easy to just to say it, right? But sometimes it helps. It helps to give excuses. Are you getting me? They already know that yeah, he's not gonna come. Forget him. Do you understand what I mean? But it's not that easy much as you said. But the best thing to do is find a way to get away. Don't give them the opportunity. For parents with young adults, you need to find a way to relate to your child. Try and understand the change in behavior. You know your child better. We all must say that. Parents always know their child. They know their children better. You understand? So just that these days, what I notice is that parents they're leaving everything for teachers, to deal with. Seriously,
because it usually happens in school as well.
They're leaving everything for teachers to deal with these days, so which is coming back a lot. You see that a lot of attitudes happening, a lot of change of attitude, things happening to the teenagers, to the children and everything, because those teachers cannot handle everything. They can't see all the whole children, isn't it? And all that. And parents have to look into. They have to find a way in it. At least look out for their kids. Sometimes it's got. You see this peer pressure you're calling about. It's a gradual process. It doesn't just happen once. It's a gradual process that's coming around, happening. If a parent is watchful, they would notice early. And the issue is that even if the child has that peer pressure and there's a change of attitude that's happening, they need the parent support. They need their guidance. They need to talk to them. You understand what I mean? Instead of being judgmental, calling the kids names and everything. All they needed that time is just what? Encouragement. They needed the support. They need someone to talk to. Do you understand what I mean? So just have to try it and be there with them and try to encourage that positive peer pressure.
Thank you for staying with us till the end. Please like and share this podcast.
And don't forget that family is everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.